More than 1 billion people have a disability around the world. And while some disabilities are visibly apparent, others are not. The truth is, most of us will experience disability at some point in our lives, temporarily or permanently. Still, people with disabilities face higher unemployment rates, and only 1 in 10 have access to the assistive devices they need to be active in their communities. The COVID-19 pandemic has only exacerbated this disability divide. Here at Microsoft, we've been on a journey to design technology with and by people with disabilities. As the world changes, our approach to accessibility is changing too. That's why we're upping our ambition over the next 5 years. Not only do we want to scale accessible and affordable technology, we're investing in skilling opportunities and talent development and doubling down on our promise to build and model inclusive workplaces. But we can't close the disability divide alone. As communities around the world prepare for post-pandemic life, we want others to join this global cause to make society more inclusive. Disability is a strength, and society is stronger when it's accessible to everyone. To learn more, visit aka.ms/accessibilitycommitment.
Hi, my name is Megan Lawrence, and I'm the Senior Accessibility Evangelist here at Microsoft. And I could not be more excited to be here with you today because I have invited my favorite teacher, my brother. So please help me welcome Mr. Damien Lawrence. Mr. Lawrence, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, Meg. Dr. Lawrence. Yes. Damien Lawrence. I am a public high school teacher. I'm currently teaching in Granite Bay, California. I have taught in Finland, traveled all over California, teaching in different districts, but just doing what I love.
You know, you and I had the opportunity to go to the same graduate school, and I was just a year ahead of you. And so I will never forget when I got to teach a class where you were one of my students. And I can remember thinking like, okay, even though I'm your baby sister, like I've really made it in this world. Because I had something to share, you know, with my brother who I had always looked up to and admired.
Just so you all know, she's being incredibly gracious here because she was the savior of all of us who were taking a GIS course and were incredibly lost at that point.
Oh, I don't know about that, but it really was incredible. And I think that, you know, it just was that opportunity for us to really begin that relationship where we, you know, began to talk really deeply about accessibility and inclusion and students with disabilities in the classroom. And you being a practitioner have taught me so much about, you know, how we can really develop practices and policies that really do create great experience for students with disabilities. You know, as you're reflecting back over the last year, what are some of the lessons that you have learned during COVID?
Well, I think it all started when we lost our traditional teaching methods, and so much of what we do relied on our interactions day to day with students in person. And once that was stripped away, we really had to rethink how we were going to do everything. You know, how was I going to connect with my students? How was I going to be able to gauge their understanding of something? And even things as simple as, well, what about my students who are deaf and hard of hearing? Do I have a product that is running live captionings all the time?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. You know, one of the things that we had talked about was, you know, the role that technology does play and increasingly has played. And, you know, when I think back over the last year, you know, community is more important than ever. And creating those great communities within your school, within the student bodies that you have are important. And technology is playing a bigger role than it really ever has. But that technology has to reflect the diversity that we see within the student body and the ways that they want to communicate and express what they know. And I know you've been using Flipgrid in your classroom, so I'd love to hear a little bit more about how that's been going.
Well, it goes back to the idea that we kind of lost our traditional methods, and then we started to question things like, well, how are we going to assess students' understandings? And Flipgrid was this super cool tool because all of a sudden they were at home telling me, explaining to me how to do things. I did this one example where they had to make a model of a neuron, and I told them they could only use things from their house. And so I've got hairbrushes and curling irons, and then they're explaining to me how this action potential works. And I said, and you'll get extra credit if you can turn around and have your parent explain how an action potential comes back. So I've got kids and their parents on Flipgrid making 2-3 minute videos that allowed me to see realistically how much they really understood, which ended up, in my opinion, being way better than a multiple choice test could have ever been.
Yeah, it really reflects the universal design learning principles, or UDL. And, that's something that many educators, including your district, have been thinking more about, really in terms of how that applies to STEM education and science, which you teach. So, how are you seeing that play out in your everyday classroom?
I think the more we research about student learning, we realize that all kids learn in different ways and they express their understanding in different ways. And so we're starting to break away from a one size fits all assessment method of your multiple choice or your short answer responses, DBQs. And instead, we'll give them an opportunity to choose and say, here are 5 different ways you can prove to me your understanding. And technology plays a huge role in that, because things like Flipgrid, or still a multiple choice test, but we're allowing the kids to find their own voice and truly show me what they understand in their best genre.
Yeah, that is at the heart of something that I deeply believe is important for every student, which is self-determination, right? Really thinking about their role in their own education and being able to advocate for themselves, but also really just express themselves in the way that they want to. And that really leads to great self-advocacy skills, which everybody needs as we begin to enter into university, the workforce, and different parts of society. So I want you to think back about when you were like a first year teacher, or maybe, some teachers that are joining us and really just getting started on their journey. What's your advice? What would you say to yourself?
2 things pop out immediately: just mentorship and observation. I had a great mentor, Missy Yavasil, in 1996 when I first started teaching. And I was just lucky enough to hire my student teacher from last year onto my staff next year. And we've already sat down. I said, look, I just want you to take a look at my lessons and you focus on what you really need to do to get better at your craft. And the other thing that we also did at our school that I found incredibly helpful was gallery walks. We would walk into other teachers' classrooms. If I knew that someone was really awesome at creating an accessible or an inclusive classroom, well, let's just go watch what they're doing and maybe borrow, steal. We are notorious stealers, educators, right? And just take that little bit and bring it back to your classroom and just try and get a little bit better every day.
Oh, okay, stealing, I don't know. I think this is really just about community. One of the things I love about Microsoft is that we do have the Microsoft Innovative Educators community. So, if you're really thinking about how to create a great inclusive classroom, we've got courses that you can take to really dig in and learn not only about pedagogy and teaching, but also about technology and tools. Microsoft has accessibility built right in at students' fingertips. They can turn on and off the tools that they need to help them, whether it's the captions within Teams that you were talking about earlier, or Immersive Reader, which allows you to change your reading view. So you can change background colors, you can make the text bigger. In fact, you can even have everything read out loud to you.
I'll be showing how the Microsoft Immersive Reader is now available everywhere. Now, just as a reminder, you can integrate the Immersive Reader into any EdTech app or site really easily. So if you have a favorite EdTech app or site, send them to this link here and they can integrate the Immersive Reader really easily. Now, I'm going to show some demos of where it already is. First up, I'm in one of my favorite apps, Wakelet, and I'm going to open a Wakelet collection right here. Now you can see the Immersive Reader hovers right here over this text, and if I click it, I get the full Immersive Reader. I can read out loud.
A Wakelet to house all of the tools.
And I can do all of the same things that I do in the standard Immersive Reader: syllables, background, parts of speech, translation, and everything. So that is the Immersive Reader in Wakelet. Another great app is Buncee. So I'm here in Buncee and I've got a Buncee, and you can see they've added the Immersive Reader on hover. So when I click it, again, I get the full Immersive Reader. If I want to translate this Buncee into another language, we have 67 languages. I'll choose Spanish. Let's do read aloud.
Las crecientes preocupaciones en...
So that is a full Immersive Reader on Buncee. Another great app and site is Wonderopolis, great nonprofit partner of ours. And you have many articles in Wonderopolis. Here's an example of what is a Fisher cat. And there's a listen button right here, and when I click that, I get the full immersive reader with all those same capabilities. A recent update is Pear Deck. So Pear Deck is great for student engagement. And this is a Pear Deck that was converted. And here is a slide example. And as a student in Pear Deck mode, I've enabled this. And for Pear Deck, you have to turn on this on the settings as a teacher. But lower right, there's an immersive reader button. When I click that, I get the full Pear Deck, and I can do all those same things that we talked about before, right on that text in Pear Deck. Some other popular apps, Canvas has immersive reader integrated into their pages. So I'm launching this from Canvas. Now I'm going to go into Nearpod. Nearpod's an engagement app that has also integrated the immersive reader, you can see. And then ThingLink. ThingLink has the immersive reader as well. You can see it clicked on right there, the full experience. So just a reminder, if you have a favorite EdTech app or publisher or any sort of integration you'd like with the immersive reader, send them to this link here in this site and they can go integrate really easily.
Wow, that was really cool. I didn't even know that some of those things were around. I can only imagine how I could have used that this year. When we lost a lot of our direct interaction with students, I was really concerned. What about my students with learning disabilities or dyslexia? I couldn't actually see that spark in their eye if they really understood something. And so much was relying, okay, you have to go home and read this on your own. And I'm just assuming that that's happening. And it's really difficult for me to know how much they're actually gaining from that. One of the things that is super cool about the immersive reader is how it can work on any platform, whether a kid's got a Chromebook or a Mac or whatever, iPad, whatever they're using at home to gain access to media, you know that this is going to be fully functional.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And in fact, it's also in Flipgrid. And so it really shows the power of making sure that technology works wherever a student is at, whatever kind of technology they're using to gain access to curriculum. So, one of the things that I love about Microsoft technology is that it really gives students a choice. So whether you're blind or low vision, we have got Narrator, a screen reader built right in for free. So it's absolutely low cost, comes with your device. Or whether we have Immersive Reader, which allows any student to customize their reading view so they can change the background colors. We know that pastel background colors improve reading comprehension for students with dyslexia. You can have information read out loud to you. Have a look at this video so you can see how it's impacting students' lives every day.
I'm Jenny Anderson Johnson.
And Ben Johnson.
We have 3 kids, Alden, Gavin, and Carrick.
My name is Carrick and I'm in 2nd grade. My favorite things in the world is bees, snakes, and gardening.
We definitely knew there was a problem because, he just was not being able to read with us as much as the other kids were.
Sometimes I was embarrassed because I don't know how to read.
He had dyslexia. Initially, it was that kind of feeling of shame that really made me feel sad.
My teacher was like, who wants to read first for the whole entire year? I said, not me.
So you start wondering, what we're doing wrong. And then there's a little bit of panic that sets in.
One day when we were learning, my friend came next to me and said, I know how you can do this. Just click on that button, and it said Immersive Reader, and I clicked on it. And I was just focused, my eyes were focused into it. I can say it to you, like that. Or I could show you a picture.
The awesome thing about Immersive Reader, it was just there. It was just an icon click away.
I think that it's allowed him to have more confidence that he can do more.
It makes me feel good and my life is more easier.
The first night he kind of came up to us with a book in hand and wanting to read to us. They see that twinkle in his eye.
Yeah.
It was something he had conquered,
This card was from Mother's Day. I love you, Mom. I am very impressed of your hard work that you did.
The last few sentences was, thank you so much for helping me read. I was like, wow, this is the best Mother's Day gift. Yeah, it was pretty, I don't know. Yeah, that one little sentence, it was kind of.
I am going to read as many books as I can in the world.
Thank you so much for joining us here today. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Please join us at the Microsoft Education site that we will be dropping in the link, and have a great day. Thank you.